Do it, girl. We're just going to flow
Ready?
like what we were doing. Yeah. And if you can talk about some of the same things.
Okay. No time.
All right, here we go. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. It's Michelle for Afro Expats, and I have the complete pleasure of having Jasmine, Jazzy. I'll let you say your last name. McNeil.
McNeil.
Yes, I know there was like a little middle name in between there somewhere. I have the complete pleasure of having her be our guest today on Let's Talk Business in Mexico. My life on Fridays is really to highlight people that are doing amazing things in Mexico. And I don't remember how, oh, you posted, that's how we connected on Facebook, what you were doing. And hey, if anyone wants to connect, and I was like, me. So this young lady has opened a co-working space that's more than a co-working space. And I'll let her kind of explain. She has two other businesses in addition to House of Vibes. And it's just really a cool concept. And I'm super excited to have her share that with you, how she kind of, ended up in Playa del Carmen, which is where she is, beachside. And, just the journey, the business aspect, and maybe like some of the things that were challenging for you, trying to get it off the ground. You launched on, what was the date? Just like 5 days ago, right?
It was
Okay.
October 24th. We launched officially. We had
Awesome.
a grand opening on October 24th,
Awesome.
which was amazing.
Yes. So I'll
So,
let you explain just how let's talk first about your business concept. Let's talk about that. Then we'll talk about how you ended up here. And hi, Anthony. Thank you and welcome.
This is House of Vibes. I'm actually currently at the location. House of Vibes is the #1 creative space in Playa del Carmen. We're basically a co-working space, but not your typical co-working space. We focus on emphasizing the creative community. So a lot of our services or what we offer here is specifically towards creatives. So we have a studio portion where we do podcasts, photography, videography. We have content creation. We have the co-working spaces, which is what we call here a creative lounge, where we have creatives collaborate, you can engage, you can network. We also have editing stations for people who have big projects who do like photo editing or video editing and stuff like that. So we have dual stations set up for that. And we also have another section on the other side that's more for like private settings, private events. If you're looking to have more like a Zoom call or you're doing a presentation or you're recording something that you specifically need a little bit more quiet or a little bit more intimate setting, we have that side available as well. So we just opened up Sunday, October 24th. It was amazing. We had an overwhelming response. We had people come from Cancun, Tulum, and Playa, from all over just to support this movement. I believe that we had about 52 people here.
Wow.
So that was way more than what I expected. We had a little issue that morning. It was more of a personal issue. I kind of had a little breakdown and almost gave up. But thank God for my support team and my support system who was like, hey, it's time to get up. You got to go open this thing up. It's not, reminding me that it's not just about me.
Right.
And reminding me my purpose of why I opened this. I opened this up to be a hub for creatives.
Right.
When I first moved here, I started to explore the creative community. I realized there's creatives from all over the world, and we practice our creativity in different ways. And but the common thing that I was hearing is that we don't have a space to share that creativity with each other. So granted, House of Vibes wasn't originally this idea, but it is what it has grown into or developed into. And the response from the community has been very overwhelming. As far as good things, we have 5 days and we've already had 4 bookings.
Nice.
Yeah, we've had an open house. We had people come by and check out the space. So I'm just really proud of where we're starting off And
Mhm.
the more people that we get involved, and what I tell people all the time is, I can't create House of Vibes without the community, without the creative community, because it's built for you guys, and whatever you want this place to be is what it can be for you.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's the notion behind House of Vibes. We are a creative space, and then we're working on so many more things. This is just the beginning of it.
I love it. So aside from the co-working part, I want you to kind of explain some of the concepts that you either have currently or plan to kind of grow into. And I just want to say really quick, hello, Danita, and thank you all for being here and your support. I really appreciate it. So I know when we spoke last week, you were or 2 weeks ago, you were talking about having like even some of the locals come in, having an area where people can paint and do murals featuring an artist. I just thought it was really well thought out as far as how you integrate the different facets of being a creative. You know, you have an area possibly for people to do, have like a photo studio, and then there's a creative side. So if you could kind of explain that a little bit more, that would be great, because I thought it was amazing.
Absolutely. So we have different portions of or avenues to this business. There's a event space where we rent out to locals who have practices, or if they have a business, they're able to rent the space in order to utilize at their discretion. We have the Flex Studio. So the Flex Studio is basically where we would host our podcasts, our photography, videography. It could be rented out to artists who want to do paintings or painting classes or things like that. And then we also have content creation. On top of that, we do have a Speakeasy portion to it as well.
That's
It's
right.
after hours. And this is where we provide a platform for artists to perform live. And it gives them an opportunity to display their talents internationally. And we do tap into the local community as well to support them and expose them to our community here and, in our facility as well. We actually, talking about that, we actually just recently partnered with Expats. It's one of the top Mexican expat Facebook groups on Facebook. I've actually sat down and talked directly, and we're making official partnerships with them to
Awesome.
allow them to have access to the space as well. They'll be hosting their own events here. They'll be utilizing the space at a discounted rate. And then we'll be providing whatever resources and assistance that we can for them, and vice versa. So actually, tonight is our first speakeasy. We
I
have
love it.
5 performers.
I love
Um,
it.
yes, and I'm super excited because 5 out of our 3 performers are locals. We have a guitarist who is specializing in playing blues, and he's Mexican, so I'm really excited. I've heard his music before, so he's amazing. And then we have 2 artists who are well known in the Playa area for their talents as far as singing. One sings and one scats, I believe, and the other does poetry. And then we have 2 people from the community who will be here. Actually, my studio manager, she's actually a performer as well, so she'll be performing tonight as well. And then we have a spiritual leader. Her name is Obataya. She will be performing her sensual singing
I
to
love
the
it.
youth.
I love
I'm
it.
very excited
Yeah,
about it.
that's just such an amazing blend of creative, things that are happening all in the same night and all in the same place. Because, normally you'll have a speakeasy over here, you'll have jazz over there. So I just love that you are really focused on bringing people together in this kind of setting in a group. I think that that's such an amazing, just the whole concept. I really absolutely love it. I think it's fantastic. How easy was it for you to kind of like get this set up? Because I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, how is it easy, how was it for you to, get the space going and get it set up, for what you want to share?
For it, from the start to beginning, from the beginning of just the brand of House of Vibes, it took about a year and 2 months to get to this point. Like I said, House of Vibes wasn't originally this concept. It was originally supposed to be a boutique creatives hotel. that I wanted to
Okay.
open in Isla Mujeres, which is an island right off of Cancun.
Mhm.
And just through trials and tribulations, we kept hitting some walls, and we realized that it was probably better that we scale back and do something that's a little bit more doable.
Mhm.
So I started to tap into things that I was a little bit more passionate about. So I'm passionate about my creativity. I'm passionate about helping others, and I'm passionate about business. So once I decided to draw back from the hotel, I wanted to provide something that is needed here, and that is House of Vibes, the creative co-working lounge or space. So I started to plan it out about 6 months ago. I started to really get into it and started to really like iron out the details. What does it look like? What do I want from it? What does it offer? And within those 6 months, probably like 3 months in, we hit a stat because we decided to go and invest our own money. So, that took some time to raise the money, come up with the money that we needed to execute what the vision was. And it was about, I would say about 45 days now. My partner, he called me and was like, hey, you got 30 days to open.
Oh, wow.
And he said one more little comment and he hung up. And in that moment, it was a sense of shock because what I thought wasn't going to happen, maybe it was just a dream, is now immediately a reality.
Yeah.
So I had to put things into gear and kind of snap out of my shop. And that's when I started the road to HOV, which was a 30-day lead up to the grand opening.
Okay.
So I showed the trials and tribulations of, opening a business, what I had to go through. There were more better days than worse, but that's what makes the story. That's what draws the people, the genuineness of me showing what it really takes. So yes, it was a little bit of a struggle. It's a new country. There's a language barrier, all those things, but with determination, support, and love from the community, I was able to get through those 30 days and create this beautiful facility that we have here.
I love it. So what was the process like from a business standpoint? Where is it pretty easy for you to, I don't know, rent or buy the space and then just kind of, start doing your thing and set yourself up, because people kind of, are not clear on how this all works. Like you can share what you feel comfortable sharing, but I think people are kind of always curious, like like, for example, myself, if I wanted to go and rent something in town, I wouldn't even know what's the first step.
Oh, okay. So in that sense, when starting a business internationally, especially in Mexico, the first thing you want to do is legitimize your business. So we went through the whole process of getting a Mexican corporation. There were certain qualifications that we needed to meet in order to be qualified for that. So that was like an investment. We had to put the name. With most Mexican corporations, you have to have some type of Mexican resident attached to it because they're very keen on keeping their people involved in things.
Right.
So once we got our corporation, then we started to look for a building. Actually, this building kind of just fell in our hands. We were looking for something across the street. And we just happened to see a for rent sign. It was opening up, and we happened to see a for rent sign at this spot. And we came in, and I immediately fell in love. I love the aesthetic of it. It was a mix of different textures and colors, and so we started to discuss negotiations on what that would look like or cost. Leasing out here, it isn't hard to do. It's actually pretty easy. Once you find a spot, it's a handshake and a deposit. And then you guys come up with an agreement in the contract. Once we came up with the agreement, as far as what we would be willing to pay on a monthly basis or a yearly basis, we then took that contract and we have to submit that to a notary to solidify our contract. Once we did the notary thing, we came in here, we started to talk about what we could do aesthetically to it, because being that it's not technically our property because we are leasing it, we have to get approval for the things that we wanted to do. Once we did that, we had to go through the process of getting permits and getting things legitimized as far as like us as a business. So once we did those things, and we started to really invest in the aesthetics of here. So the furniture, the look of it, the feel of it, what are we going to utilize for each room? And once we did that, we started to focus on our marketing. How do we tap into the community? That was definitely a lesson that was one to explore, because I didn't know how to tap into an international market. It's way easier to do it in the States because you have friends and you have places and things that you can tap into. But here, you have to find those resources, and you have to learn the rules of what you can and can't not do. And then also with the language barrier. So the hardest part was communicating with vendors because their native language is Spanish. So translator has become my best friend. It's like my number app. It's my number one app that's always open, because I constantly have to use it through WhatsApp or do a phone call or translating, and in person. But you get familiar with these people. And even sometimes they even have translators themselves who can help communicate a little bit better. So that was another part of the business. Definitely a lesson that I need to hire a teacher and learn a lesson. If I give you no advice, if you go international, learn the language. It's just a safer route. Once we locked in our vendors and we solidified everything, it was pretty much an easy sell from there. It was just balancing, out life and not overworking yourself. So yeah, that's pretty much the whole process. Once you get open and started, as long as you abide by the rules and the contract, you're pretty much in good standing.
So in general, the process, you found it, other than the language, which we know is a challenge for our day-to-day movements, other than that, overall, the process seemed like it was pretty smooth, right?
Yeah, it is. Probably the one thing that was the most difficult is finding the right people. You're going to come across people who will take advantage of the fact that you're a foreigner. They make assumptions about things, but finding the right people, and that's tapping into resources. So there are several other Black-owned businesses here in Playa that I was able to tap into the owners and have conversations about how they started, who they work with, and that was my way of getting to the right people. Because when I first started off, I tried to do it myself, and I got scammed. It comes with the territory. It was a lesson learned, but it allowed me to know what questions I needed to ask in order to figure out who's legit and who isn't. Right. So once I got burnt the first time, I took the effort to reach out to these other business owners and just ask them general questions, and surprisingly, they were very open to assisting me with giving me contacts and resources, and I've even tapped into with a few Mexican-owned businesses as well, just getting some insight from them as well. So I was able to build a great team, talking to all of these people.
That's awesome. I love that you were able to get info from, other Black expats or expats in general, but also the local community, and really, get guided on that. Because I do feel a lot of personal overwhelm by the process of either doing that or even buying property. I feel like, there's so many unknowns for us. And I feel like there are a lot of loopholes in how things are done, where you could end up being in a position of losing money and feeling, kind of devastated, or, maybe you just run back and hide under a rock again. So I think that process that you took the second time around is super important for people to really ask a lot of questions. Because what I've found in Mexico so far, especially living in San Miguel, is people are really helpful. I think there are more honest people than maybe it's perceived, that will really be willing to sit down and share with you their experiences and their information and contacts and things like that. And I really think word of mouth here is super key, for you to kind of find yourself in the right place in the end. I just wanted to say one thing. Good morning, Robin, but also Danita had a question. I don't know if you can see those on your side. She
No,
wanted to, okay, she said, did you have an attorney to look over the contract to make sure that everything you agreed upon before you took it? And did you have to have like a note, someone notarize it? Or did you get it notarized? Which I know you mentioned the notary. So here, and I want to say this because I've said it before in other interviews, but in case someone hasn't seen it, a notary is kind of above an attorney in Mexico. It's like that final say so. And a lot of times, if a notary signs something or approves something, they're almost kind of like co-responsible for that if you end up in a legal position. So I just wanted to clarify that, but you could go ahead and answer her question.
yes, I totally agree. Having a notary, our first step was going through a notary. We actually went through the process of getting our incorporation through a notary. And through the notary, we were able to figure out who we needed and who we didn't need. So I did originally start off with going with the American way. You know, America, we have an attorney, we have an accountant, and we kind of work with those two people to get everything in a realtor. Here's a little bit different. The notary is like your number one person. They're the ones who pretty much can get you most of your documents that you need or are required to have in order to operate as a business. The second most important person is an accountant. An accountant here is who has the access to get you something where they have here called the e-firma, which is pretty much like your social security of your business. And they also assist with permits. An attorney really comes in, for us, as far as like the type of business that we're running, the attorney was a little bit more beneficial when it came to negotiations. So like, for instance, we negotiated our price because we originally started off with one side of the building and then the other side became available. So we called in the attorney to make negotiations on if we can get a reasonable price for both. Or even to look over contracts to see if, you know, because a lot of the contracts here, well, all of them are attached. And they even, if in order for you to get translated, there either is a cost to it or you will have to translate it yourself or find someone to translate it for you. So once you translate it and you understand what you're signing, there's a lot of things that you have to make sure you're crossing all your T's and dotting all your I's, because something as simple as what the title of the contract can decline you from getting an infirm because of the type of business that you have. So an attorney is really there to kind of like go over and cross your T's and dot your I's, but they're probably out of the three, the less important. Your accountant and are definitely your top two people here that you want to associate with. You definitely want to have a really good lawyer if you're having employees. There are a lot of local laws for employees that you have to abide by, especially when you're a foreigner company. And it's a lot. I will tell y'all that now. As far as hiring an employee locally, it's a little bit easier, but you also have access to hire foreigners as a business owner as well, but it's a whole nother process. And with that, you will go through an attorney. And they'll be able to set you up with the employee contracts, what taxes apply, what taxes you're responsible for, how does it work if, you know, for like their insurance, their taxes. So it's a whole lesson learned just hiring employees. But yeah, those are the top three people that I've engaged with. I did mine backwards. I started with the notary, went to the attorney, and that was where I had it like the little problem issues. You know, we dealt with an attorney that we didn't feel was quite legit at the end of the day. So, but once we sat with the notary and he gave us pretty much a rundown of from start to finish of the business, then we made whatever adjustments we need to make. And after that, it was pretty easy selling.
Okay. That's pretty cool. I love that. It's like a lot of information I think people need to hear. I want to say hi to Ashley. Ashley Young sending you big ups. I'm actually talking to her after this about her endeavors as well in Playa. You guys are rocking out over there.
Yeah, we're trying.
Yeah, she wanted to say hi to you. But I wanted to ask you, like, what were the costs? Were they you don't have to give me like numbers, but in general, like, did you feel like the costs were really like fair or comfortable in terms of hiring an attorney and a notary? And then along with that question, what was like the overall process from the time you found the space that you're in to like getting the key? Like what kind of timing did that look like?
So the first part of the question, the cost, it was, to me, it was reasonable for what I was getting.
Mhm.
Like I said, we lost out on some money because we dealt with the wrong people in the beginning, but in the end, it was just a relief to get things right. So it wasn't anything substantial. I would say maybe 5K, maybe,
Mhm.
and that's pushing it.
Mhm.
And that's including like incorporations, paying for your permits, paying for your firma, hiring your accountant,
Mhm.
and having an attorney look over contracts. You're looking at about 5K
That's
on
not
the ask.
bad.
That's not bad
Mhm.
at all.
Right, because this is a
Um,
corporation, right?
yes, this
Okay.
is a Mexican corporation.
Mhm.
Outside of that, as far as from start to getting keys, it was actually pretty well. I thank goodness. I have a great landlord. He speaks really good English. He is a Mexican native. He's actually a realtor out here. He develops places like this, commercial and residential.
Mhm.
He made the process very easy. He was he asked us what we wanted. He gave it to us without any going back and forth. If we were doing something that he didn't know was suitable, or if we were doing things in the wrong way, he would just educate us on how things were ran or how things are done. But
Mhm.
I was lucky enough to have a really great landlord.
Good.
So it took us about 2 months to get the
Okay.
keys. It
Okay.
took us about 2 months because
Mhm.
we had to provide him with certain documents before we could sign a contract. So we had to,
Okay.
show him our incorporation, show him that we were in process of getting certain things. And
Mhm.
once we showed those things, he was like, okay, we can go ahead and start negotiations for a contract. Negotiations went back and forth for about 3 weeks.
Okay.
And then once we were able to do that, we signed our contracts and we got them notarized. Notary probably took about a week to get
Mhm.
them notarized. So once they were notarized, we received our keys.
I love it. And what kind of deposit did you have to put down? Was it like a contract for a year? Because I know in the US, commercial contracts averaged 5 years. Like you have to sign for a 5 year lease almost minimum, and or you're held liable. But I know in Mexico, there's probably a little bit different. But did you have to put like a first last security? Because, and sorry if this sounds really like a crazy
No,
question, because I'm thinking about it from renting a house, which is not the same thing. But I'm curious, like, what was that? Like, what were your options? Was there any flexibility there?
yeah, there was some flexibility. We actually were able to work out a really good deal.
Mhm.
Our original spot, we agreed to pay a year in advance.
Okay.
So it was optional. It was a decision that we decided to make.
Mhm.
But here, as far as the lease, we have a 2-year lease.
Okay.
Um, it all we had to really pay was a deposit. That was the original agreement, pay the deposit and then the monthly fee. But
Okay.
we were able, once our lawyer got involved and did the negotiations for us, we were able to work out a pretty good deal to where we paid one side a year in advance and we got a really good discount on the second side on the
Awesome.
monthly. So as a suggestion, if you do have the funds, you are able to work out a better deal with paying in
Mhm.
advance.
Mhm.
Because it's, in a sense, it's money in their pocket, so it gives them the guarantee that their place will be paid for.
Right.
So yeah, we have a 2-year lease, 1 year paid in advance on one side, we're doing it monthly on the other, and it comes with maintenance and water. So we're
Okay.
responsible for our own internet and
Power.
electricity,
Mhm.
which the owner was very helpful with us with setting up our internet and stuff like that. So
Love
um,
it.
it's because living here in Mexico, the company that we were going through, they only speak Spanish. They didn't have an English representative, so he was definitely willing to step in several times and get on the phone. I worked with a bilingual, I guess you can call her a customer service rep.
Yeah.
And she was assisting me as well.
I love it. I love it. I think it's great. I am curious about like how easy or not so easy was it for you to find like all the equipment you needed? Do you have like a lot of equipment there, or are most people just coming with their own stuff?
So right now, as far as equipment for our studio manager, her name is Kiera Costin. She is providing all of the equipment and services for the studio. So she is our primary contractor here. So if we have any business that come through where they need a professional for any of the services that we offer, she will be responsible for making sure that they're well taken care of, including providing equipment. She has years of experience in the music and art and film industry. So she is definitely a high commodity right now. So I'm thankful that we were able to lock her in. She's mine.
Right? Don't even think about it.
She's offered to everyone. She's offered to everyone. So as far as like the equipment to function in that way, she already had that equipment. So that was definitely a relief for us because we don't have access to a lot of things that we do back in the States.
Yeah.
A lot of things here are imported. So sometimes the price will be doubled, sometimes even tripled because they have to ship it in. As far as our furniture and stuff, we got our furniture made by locals. With this business, we try to support the local community as much as we can. So I found a great guy who makes furniture, so he's made the majority of it. The anesthetics here most of it was already pretty done, so we didn't really need to do a lot of upgrades in here. One thing I did find difficult is finding like the smaller things, so like decor, or trying to look for a certain aesthetic, or if we're looking for like for instance, we were looking for a film to go over the glass, and we couldn't find it anywhere. Or things like for our dual stations, finding like a computer arm, or something like that was affordable. So we mostly got all of our stuff from Amazon MX. So Amazon does have a Mexican portion to it. And then Facebook Marketplace was very helpful. That's a very big resource that they use here as far as when it comes to buying things.
Which one, the Mercado Libre?
No, actually Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, Facebook Marketplace. Sorry, I missed that part.
Facebook. I did try Mercado Libre, which is basically the Mexican version of Amazon. We did run across the issue with that because we were trying to purchase so much at one time that it flagged the account. So we were still trying to get that resolved, and even that it's still in progress because they don't speak English. So I have to find someone to translate for me when I get on customer service. But it's just as reliable. They have things on that now. That is a number as far as resources. If you're looking for things that you would find a little bit more accessible in the States, but you need it here, Mercado Libre is definitely a number one option. It's a little bit more affordable. My only suggestion, I would say, buy things in increments. And not try to purchase something in such a big bulk. And then also, Amazon, MX, and Facebook Marketplace. Those are the top three sources.
And people may want to I'll elaborate just a tad. It has been reliable for me. There's some things I wouldn't order, like I would not order a laptop necessarily, because I know things like that sometimes don't quite make it to your doorstep. And I do think with Amazon, there's still accountability. So if it happened, I guess they would reimburse you your money or whatever. But for the most part, I would say everything I've ordered from Amazon, either the US side, because they do deliver to Mexico, the importation fees are a little higher, but it's possible if you really need something. And then the Amazon Next, I've never had an issue. And it gets here pretty quickly. I would say things from the US get here within 5 days, like 5 actual days, not business days. And the next is usually like 2 days or 3 days or something like that. So the only thing though is trying to return something, you can do it, but they charge you like, especially if it came from the US, they charge you like a shipping fee that's not even sometimes worth sending back. So just make sure if, you know, you are living in Mexico already and you want to get some things and you haven't done this process yet, like make sure you really want it. It's not so easy. Like the US, I used to be like, oh, okay, if I don't like this when it gets here, I'll just send it back. It's so simple. It's like so efficient. It doesn't quite work that way here. I ordered something for something we needed. And the process actually to return it was the same. But by the time it was all said and done, my refund was literally coins. It was like 7 cents. So I ended up keeping the product. I was just like, I could probably sell this in a yard sale. Than 7 cents. Yeah. So just sharing. Yeah, I was going to ask you about, gosh, slipped my mind. What was it exactly? Oh, tell us a little bit about, well, tell us a little about your journey to Mexico, but I also wanted to ask you about your other two endeavors, because I think they all kind of are really cool in the creative space and how they tie in. But tell us a little bit first about how you ended up in this country that I love. I'll say we love.
Okay, so I'll try to incorporate the two. So I moved here May of 2020. I originally lived in Atlanta. This was around the time when Georgia was shut down, and I moved the day Georgia opened back up. In my mind, as I was processing while we were on lockdown, I was like, hey, you know, once we open up, I had already registered that we were going to probably shut down again because people haven't been out, people were still sick, and it was just going to flourish again and be shut down again. So in my mind, I'm like, hey, let me just go somewhere. If I want to be locked down somewhere, I might be locked down where I want to be, correct? So I did a little research. I was looking in Europe, Colombia, and Mexico. And when I was looking at the COVID restrictions for travel, Mexico seemed to be the only one that was a little bit more detailed that I can define that they were still open for tourism. So May 1st, 2020, I packed my bags. I got on a flight. It was about 10, maybe 12 people in that entire flight there. And I got a flight for $87.
Wow.
$87, a one-way flight. So I got there, and truly enough, I almost didn't make it through customs. This close. And I was kind of shocked that they actually let me through. But I think, you know, we all know that Mexico thrives off of tourism. So I think they wasn't very accepted to it, but they was just like, hey, you know, it's money coming into the country. So my first stop was Tulum. I lived in Tulum, which is not the Tulum that you guys know now. It was totally different. It didn't have as much activity. It didn't have as many businesses going. It wasn't the place to go then. It was a lot of land, a lot of jungle, and very local when I went. So I stayed there for a month. The plan was just to get away for a month, kind of reset, rethink about my life and what I wanted to do, how I was going to move during this pandemic and things like that. And so after a month, someone told me about Playa. And I decided to check it out. So I booked an Airbnb for about 2 weeks and I fell in love. It was a lot more active. It was a lot more city-like. Things were a little bit closer. So once I made a decision after 2 weeks that I wanted to move to Mexico, I went back home back in July of 2020. I got everything situated and sold and gave it away, whatever I could. And then I moved here officially. I didn't move like to stay. I still was under the restrictions of having, you know, a visa, a tourist visa. So I would go back and forth every couple of months to renew. But then when I came back, I started Playa Noir. Playa Noir was my first business. It was a event. I hosted events for Black and Brown people. And it was also a resource hub. So we assist people in contacts for realtors if they were looking to stay for long term, if they had any questions about staying here or moving here. We provided a community space for them, and we also host events for networking and just and that took off pretty well because this was around a time when tourism started to pick back up. People were getting a little bit more comfortable with the COVID restrictions being a little bit lowered now. So I started to get a lot more traction as far as like the people in the community and tourism. So I stuck with Playa Noir for about 8 months. And that was just what I did consistently. And then it was actually about 2 months ago, I started another company called Wyves. Wyves is a all-black yacht experience that I have here in Tulum that we focus on Tulum and Playa and Cancun. So we actually have a boat this Sunday that is sold out. So
I love it. Tell us a little bit about that on Sunday. Like first of all, we'll put all the information, like if people want to, if they're visiting or if they're planning on taking a yacht ride and they want to be on your boat in particular, we'll put that in the description. But tell us about that experience, what does it start with, entails, and how long is it, and just a little bit in terms of details.
Okay, so Wyves, we will be hosting yachts either 2 to 4 times a month, mostly focusing on either Saturdays or Sundays. It is a 4-hour sail experience. It is all inclusive. It includes transportation, open bar, a meal. We normally play Afro beats, hip hop, R&B, 90s, 2000s, current. We try to make it a lot of fun. We try to give a big experience. We have a welcome shot. We do a little chant before we take off, and then we sail off into the sea. You get to see the views. You get to take a few pictures, and then we end up in this thing where what we call here is called Party Cove. So it's where all the boats that are sailing out that day, they kind of meet in this little lagoon area, and they park the boats, and we can kind of just mix and mingle with other travelers or other boats. And we're out there for about 3 hours. In those 3 hours, we'll have our meal. You're more than welcome to it. It's an open bar the entire time. We dance, we sing, we mingle, and have a good time. Sometimes we do have special occasions. We have bridesmaids or bridal parties, bachelor parties, birthdays, people celebrating successes in their businesses and things like that. So we offer a specialty moment for things like that, where we give people a bottle of champagne and we allow them to go to the top of the boat and kind of pop it out or whatever they're celebrating. So there's like a moment there for them, and we realize it's really a big thing for people. People really like that aspect of it. And then we sell back, and we give our thank yous and we send people back to their location.
I love it. I love it. I love that you're not just a creative, but also entertainment in a creative way. I just think it's fabulous. I absolutely love it. I've seen some of your events, I'm pretty sure. And then also there are a few people that are doing like a lot of the entertainment type things over in Playa. And you guys are lucky because you have a beach, so you can always, kind of have that kind of vibe going. But yeah, I just think it's fabulous that you arrived here and, you found yourself in this really interesting and fun space. And, a part of the purpose of us being here as far as this channel and all the conversations that I have with people who live in Mexico is to continue inspiring others that may not have thought it possible, because they now need to see it. They need to see, oh, this is, doable. Like, oh, I have this creative idea. I mean, I feel like there are so many interesting people, and I know you run into them as well, that are just like, I did this for work, which is more typical as far as, what we're expected kind of to do in the US. It's like that 9 to 5 and the corporate job and work your way up the ladder. But it's almost like people get here and they're just like, ditch that. I'm not telling people to quit their jobs. So don't tell me to quit my job and come to Mexico. My point is if you have some other passion, like I spoke to Helen Marie, she lives in Playa as well a couple days ago. And her interview was going to come out in a couple of weeks, but she used to work in corporate in London, and her journey to Mexico was quite interesting as well. But the point is she kind of fell into doing this whole intuitive, yoga and tapping into your intuition. And she's making a business out of this, and I just think that we're all kind of finding our passion here, because in some ways, it's not that we're forced to, because we could always go back to the easy route, which is just go back home and get a job, right? But I think that we're all kind of like, oh, well, let me come out of my normal comfort zone. And what do I have that's a special gift and means something to me? And what do I have to offer? And look at your space. I mean, you're sitting on sunshine right now. I love that.
If we have time, I would love to show you guys.
I was going to ask you if you could give us a tour, because I think it's really beautiful. I saw some pictures of your opening, but yeah, if you're comfortable walking around, go right ahead. Just go a little slow, because I think there's a little slight delay with it. I would love to see it, and then you can explain it as we go.
All right.
Look at that.
All right, so I can show you guys outside first. Well, walk the other way. So let me turn the camera, my adversarial camera. So this is our creative space. Excuse it, because we're getting ready for the Speakeasy tonight, and then we have another podcast that we're setting up for later. Okay. So this is the creative space. This is where a lot of the co-working will happen. And we'll have a lot of vibe spaces where we'll just, call out people in the community like, hey, come hang out. This is our House of Vibes Wall of Fame. So every time you come in, you can write something, how you're feeling. This is most of this stuff is from the grand opening. So a lot of people are saying congratulations. But I just tell people, whatever you're feeling today, write it on the wall. And you keep it on the wall, and it's kind of like leave the bad vibes outside and bring the good vibes in. So we have this seating area. We have a little TV. This is our bathroom, which I love. We have the beautiful mirror. So this is our bathroom.
Look how cool.
Beautiful and aesthetic. So this is what I loved about it. This is our studio manager. She's actually working at the moment, but this is one of our editing stations that we have accessible to the community or creative people who have the co-working space that can utilize this station. We have a little sink area. We're doing some organizing here. We can't go in the studio right now because we have someone in there, but this is our art that we have here. And we're actually getting some new art. This is one of the favorites of everybody. Everybody loves this one. This is our grass wall. We're actually waiting to get our sign. We have a House of Vibes sign with our logo, so that should be in today. So once I get that updated, I will show you. I don't have the other side open at the moment, but I can take you guys in the walkway of the Speakeasy.
Yes, please.
So normally we will have the front portion of it closed. So what I'm going to do is, this is our Speakeasy walkway.
Okay.
And we have little lights up here. They only come on at night. But you'll be able to get access to the space through this gate. So I'll show you guys the front so you can kind of get a notion of what it really looks like. So we walk in here. Here's the front of our facility.
So cool. I love it. Oh, that's such a cool. I like the architecture and the tree. That's really nice.
That is our other side. It's similar to this side. It's a little bit smaller. But that is the other side that we have. And then all of this, it looks so beautiful at night. Oh, it's so beautiful. I'm
sure.
And we are in the local area. So we are located on 40th and 32nd.
Okay.
Right off one of the main streets. We actually have a partnership with these guys, these people, their spa.
Okay.
So they'll be offering our members discounts if they want to get a spa. But
Nice.
normally this little thing here will be closed during our
Okay.
speakeasy. So it kind of looks like that. And you will go through this entry. And this is how you get in the speakeasy. And then you just walk in, and you come in through the side.
Very cool. I love it. Look at that. That is such a cool space. It feels so chic. I love the art. It's really a nice vibe in there. I want to write on the wall. I'm going to give you something to write on the wall for me.
Well, you know what? We're going to manifest that you're going to be here and you're going to write it.
Yes.
We're going to save a space open for you.
Yes.
Our goal is to allow people to write on it throughout the year, and then we're going to take a picture and put it on the arch. Okay. So every year we'll have a wall of fame picture to kind of show our growth and engagement with with the people who are coming to Haus of Vibes. So whether you're visiting or you're a repeated customer, this wall is for you to just let it go. It's a let go wall.
Yes.
So if you're feeling bad today, you're having a bad vibe, write that bad vibe on the wall
and sit on that couch and get happy, because that's how I feel when I see the couch. It just makes me smile. It's so cool. I love the color. It's the happy couch.
Yes, it is. It is. It's supposed to sets the mood. It sets the vibe here. So yeah. Yellow was, I don't know why I stuck to yellow. Yellow stuck with me the entire process of creating Haus of Vibes. So I was like, we need a yellow couch. So
no, it's great. I like it. It matches all the, other kind of cooler colors, the charcoal, the white. It's great. It's absolutely fun. And I'm sure from the outside walking by, I would be like, oh, what's that? Just walking by would make me want to pop in and check it out. So from sister to sister, I'm very proud of you. I haven't met you personally, but this is such an amazing endeavor. And I think that people will gain from that experience of just even, being able to walk in and have that kind of access to a creative space. And you never know, it might be something you're going to open somewhere else in Mexico. And just keep growing, keep doing you, and keep your head up. Don't let things get you down, and not to the point of giving up. For sure not. Don't do that. Because if you gave up, then you wouldn't be here. Yes, and we wouldn't be talking, and I wouldn't be smiling because I'm looking at your couch.
I have a great support system that they are sure that I'm not going anywhere. They're definitely my everyday push, from every DM to every like. Those are motivations for me, because it reminds me that I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
For every person that walks in here and they're just in awe of the space, or every person who thanks me for creating this, those are reminders for me to keep going and keep pushing. So our goal is to have a Haus of Vibes in every country.
I love it.
And
Go
we create
for
this space for every culture. And then we will do we'll do what would you call that? Cross-culture experiences.
Yes,
where we will take people from here and take them to Haus of Vibes of China, or Haus of Vibes in Europe. We can explore each of this creative path. So
I absolutely
that's the long-term
love
goal, but we're gonna get there.
That's right. You got to start here, and you're going to get there. Trust. I absolutely think it's fabulous. I don't know if anyone else has questions for us. I mean, we kind of spent the time talking and hopefully covered, how you, got here, how your business started, what your business is about. If anyone does have extra questions, it's going to be available on the replay. You can make comments. Be sure to subscribe. I always tell people, and share, all of that. Sometimes I forget those formalities. Hopefully that's, something people normally do. But I think that this has been so amazing. I can't wait to get back to Playa. Now I have a good reason to go back to Playa, because I've been there a few times and I've always enjoyed it. But I think for me, moving from living in South Florida, Miami, and then West Palm Beach, sometimes my brain is like, okay, I've seen the beach, I've seen the ocean, it's hot, and but this for me, and speaking to a lot of the folks recently in Playa, I feel like it's changed quite a bit. I haven't been to Playa for about 2-3 years or so. And it's changing so rapidly with not just the tourist stuff, but also the demographics of having more Black expats be there and creating all these really cool communities that people are really connecting. And everyone I speak with, including yourself, they're just kind of like amazed, like, oh, there are people that look like me here. And I think too that that you guys are connecting in a positive way. You know what I'm saying? I feel like sometimes, at least for me, when I lived in Florida in the US, I felt like there was a lot of, you just do your thing. We took living in a Black community somewhat for granted. You know what I'm saying? And I feel that here in Mexico, where, even with having the access to the internet and Facebook and all the groups, even though I haven't met a lot of folks in person, that we are all building community here. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. And I'm happy to be a part of that too,
Yes, we have experienced a huge flux in the Black community here. Probably around since February of this year, we started to see a major growth here, as far as like people moving here a little bit long term.
Right.
And it's the same story for everyone. They come here on vacation, extend 1 to 2 times, and then they come back and they're here for like 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I think once people explore it or once people see it, they get a lot more comfortable with the idea of moving. So I always encourage people, just come out here. Just take a couple of days and explore and, go really into the city. The resorts are beautiful. They're great things to do, but a lot of people have this misconception that Mexico is safe, and it really is. It's just like anywhere else in the world. You have your places that you shouldn't go, or you have your activity that does happen, but here we are very supportive and protective of each other as far as like the Black community. And with the growth being there, we definitely share our stories and our experiences, which make people a little bit more comfortable maybe knowing that they have that support system here.
Right.
So that's my advice to anyone who is curious about coming an expat. Just do it.
Yeah.
Literally, that's the best advice I can give you. Just do it. And there's always a fallback plan of going back home. You really don't lose out on anything but a great experience and an eye opener once you become an expat.
Yeah, Danita said the couch is a ray of sunshine. It is.
Isn't it? You guys like the couch?
Yes, we love the couch. We want a yellow couch.
Like it.
It's so fun. So no, I appreciate you taking the time to speak with us today. I'm really excited about your endeavors and I can't wait to hear more about them. And I'm happy that you posted on Black Owned and shared what you were doing, because as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. I love the names. I love the yacht parties. I've seen several, there's Rashid, I guess, and Nubia. I know that you three, I see, doing things that are super cool. And I'm always like, I need to make a trip over there just for that, just to get a little party vibe on the beach or something. We're all kind of desperate for these things at the moment because of COVID. But everyone has like their level of caution, and I totally respect that as well. But I think that the yachts, parties, and special occasions, and being in touch with someone who is really understanding the types of experiences that maybe we are somewhat accustomed to, in the US. Because when I saw that, it reminded me of South Beach. And I was like, oh, this is so like, not that we're trying to be that in Mexico, but you know what I'm saying? Like the idea of, celebrating this way feels at times kind of like affordable luxury. You know what I'm saying? And I think that people need to kind of understand like, oh, it's affordable to do a lot of these types of things here with respect to the locals and things like that. So I'm very happy to hear all of it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you so much for being here. Is there anything else you want to share?
Yes, I can drop our handles. So if you are interested in following our pages, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube at Haus of Vibes MX. It is spelled Haus. Haus of Vibes MX. Our website is Haus of Vibes MX, HAUSOFVIBESMX.com. As far as Waves, we are also on Facebook and Instagram as well. It's spelled WYVES_BYE, and that is on both platforms. And then we are Playa Noir is as well. Playa Noir is PLAYANOIR. Yes.
Perfect. And I'm going to put all of that in the description. So if anyone needs to find you, and also a link to your handles so that they can, follow you on Facebook and Instagram, I'll definitely make sure that's added as soon as we end our call here. But thank you so, so much for being here. Everyone that took the time to watch, and anyone on the replay, feel free to ask questions. If I get anything after the fact, I will certainly put them to you on Facebook Messenger. You can check them as well, but I'll make sure that, people can find you if they're interested in stopping by or booking an appointment, anything, whatever it is.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys have any questions about how I started the business or want to know a little bit more detail, I am open. I'm an open book. I love giving resources and my experience to other people. So I'm very open to questions and curiosity. So come on by, you can DM me, email me. I'm pretty responsive. I'm on the phone all day, literally. So
she is responsive.
So
even this morning, I got your good morning. I was like, hey, because when you're doing a live, you're like, okay, I really need them to show up. Otherwise, it's just going to be me. But no, she's very responsive. And I wish you all the best with the endeavor, but also for tonight, because tonight's your night to kind of do the speakeasy and the jazz and whatever. And if you have any video, please share it on Black owned or send it to me. As I tell everyone, that space and that platform, Black owned Mexico, is there for people to promote what they do. It's not to create division. It's really to create a community among us and to support each other while we integrate into this country that we live in and that has accepted and received us. I know I feature a lot of people of color, Blacks here, but, where I live in San Miguel, I have a lot of friends from all different places. Locally that have been doing some amazing things, and they're just excited for having us here, and I always say Mexico has really been good about receiving us. So sometimes, yes, it might feel like, we're excluding, but we're not. I think it's just nice to be able to connect with people that understand our traditions and our culture, how we think and how we viewpoint things. And that's why we're here, is to create that kind of connection and how we can give back. And I learned so much from you today. I don't know that I would have learned this from someone I can't communicate with well, what I'm trying to say. And I always say our color is not the barrier. So that's not what this is about. It's the language. So sometimes it's like what you found is leaning on someone else to kind of guide you through the step. You found another Black owner and, hey, how did you do it? And then they connected you with a local person who's bilingual, and you found the realtor who's bilingual. And it's like little by little, we start networking. And that's what this is really about for me, is I'm learning, even though I developed this concept of let me interview people, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, I learned a lot from you about the fact that it's even possible and how it works and how you started and where you should start. And each conversation, I hope, drops a gem for people that take the time to watch, and be here on my channel. So I thank you so much for that. I learned a lot today. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I thank you for the opportunity. This is actually my first interview, so I hope I did well. I was really excited about this opportunity.
Yes, thank you.
So I can all hail to you for starting this platform, because we have so much that we want to give back to the community outside of those who live here, people back in the States. And with you having this platform and people being able to tap into and see proof that it's possible for you to make it or have an established business or have an established company in another country, I'm pretty sure it's inspiring to a lot of people. So I thank you,
Yeah.
thank you so much for this opportunity to speak
Yes.
on your platform.
And thank you. And I know that you're giving back because we talked about that you guys
Yes.
give back, you volunteer, you donate, you collaborate. Yeah, she's doing it. So there's no, people don't need to worry about that because I really think that we all are kind of thinking about these things in general. I don't think this is a gimme, gimme, gimme only. You know what I'm trying to say? I've had conversations with a lot of other Black expats that are really focused on, like last week with Stephanie, focused on volunteering and donating time and space and you name it. Even myself, I take a lot of time to put donations into local organizations that are feeding or just giving on an individual basis to different things that are happening around us. And I don't know if I shared this with you, but I have like my son does a little thing around the holidays where he's baking sweets and whatever. And we take a percentage of that and we donate it to people that have a need or an organization, just to teach him first about charity and being charitable, giving back, but also business. I want him to be an entrepreneur and hopefully that's what he'll be, and just kind of like run with it. I think the younger we learn these lessons, the more we have to build on later on in life. So, yeah. All right, my dear. Thank you so much. Happy Friday, everyone. Have a great weekend. It's Halloween, Day of the Dead. We'll be definitely celebrating this weekend here in Mexico. Yeah, I'm definitely planning to just go all out costume wise. So if you have any intentions or plans over there for that holiday on Monday, the 1st and 2nd, I think are the days that they really put an emphasis on it. Enjoy yourself. I know I am going to have fun and I'm glad that we had this opportunity to speak.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you guys.
Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.
Bye.
Good weekend.